Looking for unforgettable performances right here in your backyard? Come experience the magic at NSU Playhouse, where talented students and seasoned directors bring powerful stories to life on stage, one breathtaking performance at a time. With the Sequoia Institute subscription, subscribers can get 20% off all Sequoia Institute shows. There is a Playhouse Pass which gives members access to every show that the NSU Playhouse produces every year. Shows are free for all NSU students. For more information, visit nsuplayhouse.ludus.com.
Hello, welcome to Hawk Talk, TNU's podcast. I am Chloe Mayfield, and I'm sitting down today with Dr. Farmer, Professor of History, and Dr. Silver, Assistant Professor of History, who are here to discuss the History Department's plan for the spring 2026 semester. Thank you both for taking the time to sit with me. Let's find out more about what the History Department has planned. What are the majors and minors available to students interested in having a career related to history?
We have two majors. There's the history major, which is your traditional history path, and then we have social studies education, which is if you want to go and teach in a K through 12 school. There are top 5 fields really for history. Most people don't know that, but it's education and management, law, administration, and then business and sales. So like project managers, those types of things, marketing analysis, research, lawyers. So for people who want to do a more traditional history path, that's the kind of thing they would do. If you want to teach K through 12, you would do social studies education. We also have started to see more people taking museum curator jobs, archivist jobs, working in the public history sector. So for that, we have the public history certificate that they can take along with the history major, and they take the public history class that'll be offered this spring, and they will do a history internship, which is also available to all history students, and then they take 2 other history classes.
So I remember you mentioned lawyers, right? So how does being a lawyer fit in with the history department?
A lot of what they do is when they argue their cases or they're making a case, they're building it on precedent, and they have to cite legal precedent, and they have to do a lot of research. And history gives you that grounding in research, citation, making effective arguments, and
critical thinking,
building precedent, understanding how events relate to one another, cause and effect, correlation, all of that. And so history is traditionally a solid degree plan to go into if you want to do law. And we've had several alums who've gone on to law school, and they've gone to TU or the University of Arkansas, and they do very well there.
And then in terms of the minor, we offer a minor in history for students who are interested in the history but don't want to do the full degree.
The history minor, can they take the same classes?
So their degree is much more structured, whereas the minor is unstructured. And so they can take whatever history classes that they want. And that includes the section of American history that they take as part of their general education. They can take other history classes as part of their general education that would count towards that. So they can actually even start working on a minor in history with their general education requirements.
So say if there was prerequisites for classes that the minors could take, do you mean they don't have to meet the prerequisites? Or
the only class that we have that has a prerequisite is the historical internship. So in order to take that, you have to be a junior and you have to have 3 upper level history classes. But other than that, all of our classes, you don't necessarily, is it better to take the lower level history and work your way up? It's absolutely better. And if you're going to be a history major, you want to take historiography and historical methods around your sophomore, probably no later than your junior year, because it's going to teach you the skills that you need to write the research papers for the upper level classes, but it's not technically a prerequisite to take the upper level classes.
No, and it's not uncommon to have non-history majors in the upper level classes because they're minoring in history, or they might just have a free elective somewhere and they're interested in a particular history class.
What does the capstone class for the history department look like?
So I teach that. That's our senior seminar class, and you take that the last semester that you're in the history program. And we do have 2 content quizzes, American history, and then a world European content quiz. Then there are 2 historical thinking tests that they take for that class. And you're not necessarily graded on your answers, but it's more we want to see how you interact with the primary sources. So those are sources from the time period. So they're given a spectrum of primary sources from the ancient world all the way up to the present world, European, American. And we just see sort of how you think about those sources. And then currently they're doing a portfolio system where they collect a selection of their best research papers that they've written in the upper level class. And then they write like a little 1-page reflection over the research process and how they see themselves growing as a researcher.
How many students does the program get per semester?
So we serve everybody on this campus. Unless they transfer in and they have taken the American history class elsewhere, we get everybody that comes through campus because every freshman, full-time, first-time freshman has to take an American history class. They can take the first half, the second half. That's up to them, but we get everyone. And then we also have 3 other gen ed classes that are on the books in different categories. So every semester we're seeing everybody. But our students come out of our program very much prepared as critical thinkers. They're good researchers. They're good writers. They know how to cite. They know how to make effective arguments. And we start that at the lower level and work our way up.
With that in mind, what do classes in the history department look like?
I think it depends on the individual professor, but we all are focused on teaching those skills. There's going to be a lot of working with primary sources from the time period, engaging with our secondary sources, which are sources that are written by historians so that they can see what historians do and how historians do that. And then generally there's some sort of, especially in an upper level class, there's some research project. Now, what that looks like, it could be a research paper and a presentation. Sometimes, in the case of Dr. Silver's classes, there may be museum exhibits.
And creating posters in which they give a presentation. There's a lot of different things that we like to do with the students in terms of what they're doing, just to kind of like mix it up and teach them a variety of different skills. But there always is the level of research, analysis, and then putting that together in some sort of form, whether that's a paper or a poster, and presenting. So then they can also learn about effectively communicating these ideas and also not being afraid to get up and communicate this, especially since we have, a significant portion of our program are social studies education majors, and, they need to get comfortable presenting information to classes because that's what they're going to be doing in their everyday life. So,
and when we can, we try to get out of the classroom and go do immersive learning experiences at historical sites, whether that's local here or, we've gone to Kansas City, we go over to Arkansas, we may go to Crystal Bridges.
Oh, I love Crystal Bridges.
Yes, it's wonderful. But going and seeing how history is conveyed to the public. And in a lot of my classes, when it's possible, for instance, I'll be teaching Atlantic World in the spring, and there are historical sites that are in Oklahoma that, even though we aren't anywhere near the Atlantic Ocean, that are impacted by the Atlantic World. And I like to have students do what's called service learning. So we will choose a historic site that is related to the class, and I will reach out to them and see, do they have any needs for students to come out and do some work for them, and we'll spend a couple of days out on the site engaging in the acts of public history.
That sounds like fun. I might have to take a history class as long as.
Yeah.
We have a lot of fun.
And then I feed them at the end of that class too. I tend to feed students a lot at the end of classes.
What does the spring semester look like for history majors this upcoming semester?
So we're offering historiography it's only offered in the spring. So students who need that class would need to take that. And that will be an introduction into historical methods and what we do as historians. And then we have 3 upper level classes, one in American, one in Europe, and one in World.
So the American history, I'm so excited for this class. It's America in the 1960s, and it's face-to-face. And so basically it's covering the 1950s through the 1970s, and it will be documentary heavy because how Americans learned about what was going on around them in the country and in the world during that time was through their television. So to be able to have that experience in the classroom as well is going to be super fun. And then I'm also teaching the public history course, which is only offered every 2 years.
Every 2 years.
Every 2 years? Yeah, which, right, that's required for the public history certificate. And we're going to be doing a number of field trips to archives and museums to meet with the directors at those sites and get a rundown, kind of like a day in the life of what this job looks like. And then also continuing the oral history event that our department has done the last 2 years, a conversation with. So 2 years ago, it was a conversation with Mayor Layla Foley Davis. And then last year, it was a conversation with Dr. Harold Aldridge. And so the students are I'm going to actually leave it up to the students of who they want to choose for the subject of the oral history interview, which is also a public event where the community and students can come and watch students interview whoever that person might be. And then also hopefully get into some podcasting and social media, and then also just get into kind of some of the more technical elements of public history and have discussions about public history, memorials, monuments, that sort of thing. So it's going to be a super fun class.
And then for Europe, Dr. Vovchenko is teaching Russia in the modern world, and that will be online. And I'm not sure what all he has planned for that, but I'm sure it will be very interesting. And I'm teaching the Atlantic World class face-to-face for the World History elective. And that class is really about the convergence of European, African, and Indigenous American cultures. And we don't just focus on North America, but the Caribbean and South America. And we look at everything from foodways to songs to religion and the cultures that were created out of those interactions and exchanges. And so we'll do a service learning project with that, and probably that will involve a field trip and eating gumbo at my house.
Dr. Farmer, Dr. Silver, it was great talking with you. Thank you for coming in. Thanks for listening to the Hawk Talk podcast. You can find us at nsunews.com, Spotify, or follow our social media pages at TNE News on Instagram and Twitter at The Northeastern and The Northeastern on Facebook for the latest NSU news.
The Northeastern Student Government Association is a student-led organization committed to the betterment of the student body since 1925. NSGA programs and events are designed to enhance student life and handle student concerns. Whether it's student organization allocations, academic regalia loans, parking ticket forgiveness, or food assistance, NSGA wants to ensure NSU students are set up for success. NSGA events are free for all students to attend and include chances to speak with NSU faculty, staff, and NSGA members, as well as chances to participate in games and giveaways. Learn more about their events and programs by following their Instagram at NSU NSGA or their Facebook page at NSGA Northeastern Student Government Association.